As you may or may not know, my wife and I just got back from Vegas. It was a great trip. We ate, we drank, we had a blast. But then we got home and looked at the credit card, and I gotta say, it doesn't matter how much fun you're having, $25 for a drink is a ripoff. Frickin' Vegas. I hate getting ripped off, and so do the lads over at Harry's. They spent years watching the razor blade companies rip people off and said, no more. Not all heroes wear capes, my friends, and they want to prove that they're legit by offering you hot dogs a $13 trial set for just $3 at harrys.com/RTG. I've been telling you about them for months, and I'm genuinely proud to have Harry's as a sponsor of this show. I wasn't kidding. The plastic, futuristic-looking crap razors you get at the store are overpriced and they're poor quality. Harry's blades are crisp, clean, and classy. They're the kind of razor you'd expect your grandpa to have on his bathroom counter. And most importantly, they work. Shave after shave, they're so smooth, they're precise. I used to go through the crappy store blades all the time, but Harry's are built to last. And they're not just better quality than the other names, they're more affordable. And they deliver. Just set your schedule, and for as little as $2, new blades, shaving creams, lotions, everything you need, right to your door when you need it. I genuinely cannot think of a reason not to try Harry's. And I'm not just saying this because they're sponsors. They're the best shaving supplies I've ever used. Try them out, and if you're not happy, your shave's on them. And unlike the other subscriptions, they're really easy to cancel if you want to too, which is a nice bonus, but believe me, you're not going to want to cancel. Getting ripped off isn't funny. Switch to Harry's. Get started with a $13 trial set for just $3 at harrys.com/RTG. That's harrys.com/RTG for a $3 trial set. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Remember the Game Episode 1, Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. My name is Adam Blank. I am a stand-up comedian, and this is my new retro gaming podcast. Every week, I just want to bring a friend of mine on, or maybe an enemy, probably a friend, to spend half an hour or so just talking about an old video game that we both know and love. This week we decided to go with Super Mario World. That is my favorite video game of all time, so I thought it would be a fitting kickoff to the show. And joining me this week is my buddy Chris Heber, who is another big retro game nerd like myself. And this was a lot of fun. This was exactly what I wanted this podcast to be. I'm not doing a ton of homework. I'm not looking into the production history of the game or who developed it or anything like that. I don't want that to be this. There's a ton of those already. I want this to just be two people reminiscing about a game they love. And as we talked, more memories popped up, and it really filled me with a sense of nostalgia, which is exactly what I was shooting for, and I hope that that's what it does for you guys. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope you guys enjoy this podcast. I did record a bit of an intro once I started the conversation with Chris. I wasn't sure if I was going to do one like this, so please just ignore that. It's the first episode. It's the pilot. The first episode of Seinfeld sucked. You know, they have to learn. And I also know there's a little bit of a balancing issue with the sound, so I apologize with that. I'll get it figured out. But with that said, kick back and enjoy a couple nerds nerding out about one of the greatest video games of all time, Super Mario World. Here we go. All right, welcome everybody to the very first episode of Remember the Game, our new retro gaming podcast. I am Adam Blank, the host and creator of this train wreck of a second podcast, and joining me for the inaugural episode here is one of my best friends and one of the biggest gamers I know, fellow nerd Chris. Can I say your last name?
Yeah, you can.
Chris Heber. How's it going, buddy?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Some people don't like their last names. There's a mysterious Dave X, a friend of ours, that doesn't like his last name said because he's afraid that the things he says will come back to him. But you're not nearly as angry as most people I know. So you're the guinea pig for episode 1. And basically, what I want this to be is just a do you remember the game? And we're just going to talk about our memories. I don't know how often you play it these days or if you played it, but to kick the podcast off, we are going to open with the game that launched the Super Nintendo and my favorite video game of all time, Super Mario World. And you yourself have played Super Mario World, I assume, more than once?
Oh yeah, for sure. No, I've played it a few times along the way here.
Did you have a? Because you were a Sega kid, no?
Yeah, growing up, it was like it was Sega Master System, Sega Genesis, Sega Saturn.
Sega Saturn. Holy fuck!
That's when the smiles died. Is after that one.
The fact that you lived this long is so then when, because like I don't remember when we got our Super Nintendo, but man, I remember playing this at my friend's house before we got our own, and like, oh fuck, it was just like, I have to get this game. Like, it was so, like, I don't really remember the commercials for it, like, because you and I are the same age, and I think it came out around 1990. Does that sound right?
Yeah, it sounds pretty close.
About 90, 91.
Unfortunately, it's a Sega slant, but I think the Genesis was 89 and Nintendo was like the year after.
Yeah, it was right after, right? Yeah. So I don't particularly remember the commercials, but I do remember, like, once I started playing it. Because, like, so you didn't have an NES either then?
No.
Okay, so this is interesting then, because I want to see what you have to say about it. For myself, I grew up with Mario and Mario 3, and I loved them both, but then I got my hands on Super. Like, as soon as I saw it, it was just like to me, this is why the Super Nintendo is the greatest system of all time, because it took all these games that launched Nintendo and just and put them all on steroids. You know, it fired them all up. Whereas for you, like, when did you play it as a kid?
Well, it was kind of like the same thing. Like, it was friends' houses for the NES, and it was always cool. Like, wow, Mario this, or like Metroid that, and stuff like that. And then I guess the unique thing was when Sega came with the Genesis, it was Sonic, and that was like their Mario killer kind of at the time.
Yeah, I remember. Do you remember the old commercials where fucking they were like, "What is it? Sega does what Nintendo don't."
Nintendo don't.
Yeah, and they were like trying to make it look like it was like the most badass. It's funny because I would go to my friend Adam's house and play his Sega, and I was like, "Wow, this is so different than Nintendo." I didn't like how fast it was. I liked the slower Mario, you know.
Yeah.
So then when did you play it, like, for the?
So it was kind of like I guess my first memory of the SNES and Super Mario World were both when at my uncle's house back when we were kids. We'd go there for like a weekend, and I remember getting there for the first time when they got their SNES and firing it up. And here's this new Mario game. Like, after playing 3 and all these, and I guess the first thing is I got in trouble because I erased someone's save state and they left with 71 stars. But
oh no!
Just after firing up that first time, like, wow, like,
dude,
it was everything that 3 was, like you said, just taken to the max.
Yeah, like I mean, it, like, even to this day, like, literally, like, we're looking, like, you can see the SNES Classic Edition box sitting on my shelf there, and and literally the way Super Mario World is written and the colors that are in the letters, just like, I get this like happy feeling just literally looking at those words, because this game was like the cape and Yoshi and the big map and the color, like the colors still stick out of my mind today, like how beautiful it looked.
Yeah, like that map, it just, I mean, as cool as it was seeing the Super Mario 3 one for the first time, like, that was just like, you literally almost went and looked over the whole thing before you started playing. Like,
yeah, because you could
see those worlds.
Yeah, because you that's right, I forgot about that. You could like scroll the map, and even if you couldn't see where all the individual levels were, I remember doing that, and because you started off on Dinosaur Island, right, in that bottom corner, and then you'd scroll up and then over to like where the Enchanted Forest was, and then down to the Choco Plains. And I remember looking at like those castles over there and being like, holy fuck, like I have to get all the way around there.
You see the sunken ship, not knowing it was the one from Mario 3. And
so here's the thing, I didn't realize that until literally
apparently that was Bowser's flagship or something that crashed.
I can't believe I never
wreckage,
I never put that together till like a month ago. And then I was looking at the map of this game online, just because I knew this was the first episode we wanted to do, and then it just hit me, and then I was like, holy fuck, that's one of the ships from Mario 3, because it even has this circle with the question mark in it at the bottom, like you used to. Oh fuck, I can't believe I didn't figure that out as a kid.
And no, like, it's just playing through that though, like it ate Sonic's lunch, like you said. I think Sonic is just all speed and not much substance, where this was like you explored like every nook and cranny. And
I agree,
you see that first like football Koopa guy kicking balls or throwing baseballs, like, wow, that.
Yeah, dude, yeah, like, it's what stands out to me is the first time you get on Yoshi, because like that was like, holy fuck, like now you look so big, like when you have a cape, when you're big you have a cape, and then you're sitting on Yoshi, you're like this fucking tank, especially in those early levels, and you can just storm through everybody. And then do you remember, it's in one of the first 2 levels when that giant Bullet Bill
Oh,
comes.
boom.
Yeah. I remember just like losing my mind because I was like, oh my god, it's like half the screen. I didn't know that bad guys could be that big.
Yeah, for sure.
And you're right, it did eat Sonic's lunch, and it was fucking like it was like for my money, even today, it's one of the best controlling video games of all time. Like the controls are so tight.
It really was. Like, it stood the test of time and.
Yeah,
every way you can think of
like the physics feel perfect. Everything, like I mean, maybe some people would argue the cape could be a little tricky. I found it hard as a kid, but now as an adult,
it's definitely harder than like the tail and the piece, like the P meter and 3. Like, because I still to this day can't seem to get the when he kind of puffs up and floats around.
If you get good at that, like there's like those bonus levels where it's like a mile of rows of coins in the sky, and you can play it as long as you want, as long as you just keep flying back and forth. And like I remember reading the instruction book like over and over and reading about how you could do the ground pound with the cape, and how you could make it do that like and like float back up in the air. And I was so bad at it when I was little. I just liked it because it gave you an extra hit.
Yeah, I always seem to hit the ground and just get hit by something after.
Yeah. But yeah, it was cool. It was like those are two of my favorite memories of that game. Like for my money, the cape is maybe still the best power up. I don't know. The frog suit was pretty badass.
I did like the suits from Mario 3. Like I like the Hammer Brothers suit. I remember the first time. Oh, wow! Like,
dude, yes. Yeah. It was. I mean, there's certainly fewer power ups in this one than there was in Mario 3. Because like other than getting big and the star, it was just a flower or the cape and then Yoshi, right? But I feel like they were able to take some of the power ups out because they gave you so many variants on Yoshi.
Yeah.
Remember, like
they're different colored Yoshis, right?
Yeah, that's right. And I remember playing when I was little, and like I think it mentioned in the instruction book that you could get different colored Yoshis, but like it was well before the internet. You're right. When you and I we're old when we were playing this game, and so I remember like going to school and talking to my friends about Mario World, and they would tell me what they found, and I would tell them what I found, and I remember one of them telling me that there's a Yoshi that just flies no matter what shell he eats. Because when you're the green Yoshi, he flies when he eats a blue shell. Yeah. But only until till he works it through and swallows it. And then I remember getting my first baby. Because remember, that was the other thing, was the blue, red, and yellow Yoshis were babies.
Yeah, you
and then
feed them
so
many enemies.
And I remember the first time I found that blue baby, and I think it's up in the Star World somewhere, and I was like, holy shit. Like
the first time I found him, I dropped him, and he went away. I'm like, finally, and
you know what? A lot of gamers have killed Yoshis. Remember there was that one secret exit where you basically have to jump off Yoshi's back?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know what? That was one of the things I think blew my mind the most too. Was just all the secret exits in that game.
Dude,
you actually had to be inventive and like,
man,
experiment a bit.
You know, like I really, like like my whole premise for this was I didn't want to go to other games, but I think with certain games it's impossible to not draw the comparisons. And like this one will forever be linked to Super Mario 3, right? Because they're basically like the big brother and the little brother. And in Mario 3, it was so cool to finally have a map to walk around on, but there wasn't that many secrets on it. You know, like there was the odd like rock you could blow up to like get across, like, to find like a new path and shit like that. But in Super Mario World, yeah, dude, like the amount of paths are like, because some levels would be red, and they would let you know there was those keyholes, and like I remember I didn't even realize that as a kid. Eventually someone told me, but I remember like seeing levels. I would finish a level, and then it would create the path would grow, take it to the next level. But I could see another level beside it that I'm like, I know that somehow I get there from here, but how? Like I can't, you know,
ghost house or a pipe or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, my only beef at all with Super Mario World is I hate those goddamn ghost houses.
You hated them? I thought they were awesome.
I hated them. Because like now I don't mind it because now I know where to go. It's easy. But like when I was a kid, I would get stuck sometimes, and it would just make me so angry because I could not figure out what I was supposed to do.
Yeah, they were definitely the more puzzle kind of part of the game. I guess. Like you had to kind of think outside of a box.
But that said, though, that's another one of the cool things about the game was there was like all the levels weren't just like left to right beat the level. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like there were ones where you had to go up. There was one of the levels on Star Road, because those Star Road levels were puzzles, right? And there was, there was one level where the whole level was like 10 feet across, but the secret exit is up. Yeah. And to go up, you have to kill the Kidu and take his cloud and fly up to the key. Right. And it was so cool the way they would hide things. And you're right, in the ghost houses in particular, like some of them, had some pretty sneaky exits,
Well, I
man.
think, was it every ghost house actually had an alternate exit, didn't they?
I think so.
Yeah, if
because
I
there were
remember
certain
right.
ones, like I think it was the one in the Enchanted Forest. Oh yeah, and here's I wanted to mention this. We're not doing any homework. We're just talking about it based off muscle memory. So if one of you nerds is listening and you're like, it wasn't the Enchanted Forest, it was the Mystery Woods or something, like fuck you, because we're trying to do it off of our old brains. But yeah, the Ghost House in the Enchanted Forest, I think if you went through the basic exit, it didn't get you out of the woods.
No, like you looped forever.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
couldn't find them.
Dude, I remember as a kid, I got stuck in there for quite a long time. And then when I finally did find my way out, and then I figured out that there's a fortress there. Because remember, there were the fortresses with the 4 rhinos in them.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing that and being like, how the fuck do I get to that? Because I'm out of the forest now. Like, where's the other path to get?
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Everyone that listens to this podcast knows about our illustrious CEO, my dog Molly. But the other silent partner behind the scenes is my wife. And let me tell you, my friends, a 17-year relationship with another person that has to talk to and live with you is a lot harder to maintain than one with a dog. We've had our ups and downs, and as you all know, a relationship isn't all sunshine and rainbows. They can be a lot of work. You get out what you put in when it comes to relationships, and talking to a therapist can be a fantastic way to put in some work. They can help you work through your issues, learn to communicate better, and even just provide you with an ear to bend when you need it. I've talked to my therapist about my relationships, especially when it came to my stand-up comedy career and how much I was away from home, and they helped me work on ways to keep my relationship strong even when I was out on the road. It turned out our relationship was actually better when I was out on the road, but that's a story for another day. And I know, right? Therapy. Who has the time these days? BetterHelp hears you, and they're making it easy. Fill out a quick form online, and they'll match you up with a therapist that suits your needs and that'll work around your schedule. You pick the meet times, and you can get your therapy fix from anywhere over video, phone, or just chat. Become your own soulmate, whether you're looking for one or not. Visit betterhelp.com/rememberthegame today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/rememberthegame.
Oh, what a great game. I love all the, you're right, there's the secret exits and the power-ups and the colors. And you know what else I love about Super Mario World is the Koopa Kids.
Yeah, they're still in it, and they're still. Now I can't even fake an interest in them. They're all just cookie cutters, whatever game they show up in.
Yeah. But like, because in Mario 3, it was cool to see them, but they were all basically the same. They all had their wand and they shot stuff at you. But in this one, and I mean, like the fights still aren't epic. They're pretty easy.
Yeah.
But I do remember as a kid just loving the fact that like they were more colorful. Because Bowser is my favorite character.
Yeah.
And to see these 7 little Bowsers. And then and they were all kind of different versions of the fights. You know what I mean? Like there was a few different variants of the fight.
Some were heavier, some had objects they
Yeah.
bounced around.
Yeah. It spiced it up a little bit. I like them better than Bowser Jr.
Yeah.
Bowser Jr. fucking sucks.
Yeah, no, for
He's
sure.
a little freak with his fucking paintbrush. I hate
Yeah.
that guy. No, it was like I'll never get tired of that game. Like that's the one I have the because you have a Super Nintendo Classic.
Yeah.
Is that the only place that you have it now? Like that game?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I never had I don't think I really ever truly owned a Super Nintendo.
That's
console,
crazy.
yeah. Like just by the time a guy was old enough to get the money to even buy one,
Yeah.
that's all you could emulate it.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, like, I mean, if you were a Sega kid growing up, it wasn't exactly your choice. Like, you could tell your parents kind of what you wanted, but it was kind of like what your parents bought you was what
Pretty
you had
much,
for
yeah.
video games as a kid. I've owned this game countless times. Like, I've collected it a few times. Every time it comes up on a virtual console, virtual console, I get it. Like the Super Nintendo Classic Edition has it, which you have as well.
Yeah.
Have you played it on the SNES Classic
I
yet?
have, yeah. Like, and it's pure fun. Like, you can just fire it up. You can play a few levels. You can go about your day, come back.
Yeah, and it's like it's vanilla ice cream of
Yeah.
video games, and it's just perfect. Like it's the perfect video game.
Yeah.
I love the end fight against Bowser, like because it's the first time you actually fight Bowser. Like instead of
Yeah.
just dodging him and letting him kill himself or whatever, like you're throwing shit at him, and there's
for
multiple
sure.
stages.
Yeah, he's riding in his helicopter.
That stupid,
Yeah.
yeah, that thing's become
Flower
like.
helicopter or whatever.
Yeah, that fucking clown, evil clown cloud thing that Bowser Jr. flies around in
Yeah.
now, which again, he's ruined it because he's Bowser Jr. It's the perfect video game.
Yeah.
I every year it's kind of like my little secret hope at E3 that they announce like Super Mario World 2. And I know that Yoshi's Island is Super Mario World 2, but I, like a legit, like
sure.
I would pay so much money for just, and like there's a lot of ROMs. Like I think like a lot of people hack it.
Yeah,
and
I think it's been hacked and people have added stuff to it. And
you haven't played any of them,
no,
eh? I kind of want to, just because it's more Super Mario World. Like, remember Mario Maker? My favorite levels were the Super Mario World ones by far.
Yeah, for sure.
But I just like, even if people do good jobs with these hacks, it's just not it's not gonna have that Nintendo polish.
Yeah, that was kind of my, with Mario Maker, that was kind of my thing. I just didn't really like much about it, is that they give you all the tools, but everyone just kind of seemed to make it like a pinball machine.
Yeah.
It's like you're just bouncing all over the place.
Yeah. It's just like
perfectly timed, and it was kind of soulless almost. But.
Absolutely, yeah. And to me, that's part of the thing with Mario World too. Like, I'm a proud Nintendo fanboy, and I have been all my life. I know you're a pretty big Nintendo fan now.
Oh yeah, like, I mean,
it, like, the original Mario, the original Mario 3 on the NES were fun, and Mario 3 is a great game. But I really feel like this was where they hit their mark. Like, this was the one where they were like, this is what we can do, and like this was this was the game that made me into the Nintendo, like having the Nintendo hard on that I have today, because they proved that there's just a level of quality and a level of like care and like, I don't know if love is the word, I guess love, that goes into their games that to me nobody else in the industry touches.
Yeah, there wasn't one level I didn't like or thought like, oh, they just mailed it in.
Yeah.
Nailed this world in, or It's just from start to finish. There was always. It was fun. Like,
yeah, it was. Yeah. And playing it as a kid, like, it's like, I wish I could go back and play it. Like, it's like a movie to me, and I wish that I could go back and play it for the first time, not knowing what is coming up.
There's just so many small parts to it that were awesome. Like, I remember taking that one secret level, and you pop up above Bowser's last level. Like, you play a level, and then there's another pipe, but you're like, whoa, like,
dude, yeah. You were like up on that cliff, and you play that one world, and you can see Bowser's castle down at the bottom, but you can't get down there yet.
Yeah.
And I remember somebody telling me there was a way to get to the back door of Bowser's castle.
There was a back door to it, yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't believe them either. And then when I finally got there, I was like, wow, because you can just blow through the whole castle.
Oh yeah, like there was a top secret zone where like that's all it was called, right? Like you just found a secret way, and it was 2 levels, I think, in a fortress.
Yeah,
but it's just neat to be like, wow, this is,
dude.
And then that first trip to Star Road, and
there's levels in that game, and I can vividly remember a few of them that like I could not figure out how to get forever. I think my mom, when I was a kid, I remember my mom taking us to the library, and we were always allowed to get 2 books. And I remember there was a Super Mario World guide I found at the library that I would take out like over and over and over. And that was how, like, in Vanilla Dome, you know, where you go into the water and then you go up to the ghost house.
Yeah.
But you can also go off to the left, and there's a fortress, a Star Road entrance.
Oh yeah.
And then you can go up on top of that mountain.
Yeah.
I could not figure out how to get up there forever.
Yeah.
And so like those levels almost feel new to me because I didn't play them 2,000 times like I did through the rest of the game.
Well, I remember that level too, because like it was a big red dot, because there was a ton of ways to get
out
of there. Like,
that's right.
Different ones too.
Yeah, there was a few that were like
a P switch, I think, or an exclamation switch, I think. It was,
yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, there's a few that are just like, instead of being like the little dot in like the land of dirt, they're like, they look like a little football. Like they're just huge. Yeah. Oh, I want to play this game, Chris. I love this game so much.
Sure, yeah.
It like the music. Oh yeah, so that's one of the things I plan on doing when I edit these is I'm gonna put the music from the game in as intro and outro. And I've read that maybe there's copyright things, but I've also read that like they don't have time to look through every podcast that's ever come out. And I promise you that no one's gonna listen to this fucking podcast. I promise you that's not gonna be a problem with this one. And I'm so excited to listen to that music again. I'm gonna play through this game again.
And they nailed it too. Like they had, like, I just remember being at a fast paced level, like do like
yeah,
you're just jumping for your life, and it feels like with the beat, or when you're underwater and it's just that lazy like do.
Yeah,
like, it works.
And you know what's cool about it is when you listen back to it, a lot of the songs are the same basic tune, just tweaked.
Actually, yeah, it's
like there's like do, and then you go underwater and it's like do, and like like
and even I guess the fast paced one too is just
they just like it's the same song over and over and over again. I you know This was exactly what I wanted in the podcast. Is once you get talking about the game, and then you're like, oh, remember, and do you remember how you could climb on the fence?
Yeah.
And then you could punch the fence and go around to the
On the back
backside.
there, yeah.
I thought that was like the most mind blowing thing ever. And it was funny because like I remember playing it and learning that as long as you stay on one side of the fence and keep killing Koopas, it's like you're jumping from one to another, and you end up getting to the point where you can get 1-ups, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And instead of doing that, I would always go around to the other side just because I thought it was so cool to see Mario like facing me directly, even though it would cost me all these lives. Because the thing about it is like it's a great game, and those special worlds, especially those last 8. Remember the 8 that have like gnarly and tubular, like those weird names, and yeah, like those were some hard levels.
Yeah, I think those were the intentionally like almost not non-canon, but they were just intentionally hard made levels. They like, a little bit of challenge.
Yeah. Where was I gonna go? But other than those, and maybe 1 or 2 of the other ones, it's not the hardest game.
Not really. You know what the hardest part of that game was? And this is probably my only bone to pick with it.
What's that?
Was that one bonus level you go into where you're supposed to spin your cape and hit the blocks in a row when you got a free life.
Oh,
if
yeah,
you hit
yeah.
it wrong,
Yeah.
Every time I get so mad. I didn't even want to play it. I just jumped it up and get out.
Like the tic-tac-toe one, you mean?
Oh, no, this was like... It was kind of in the middle of levels where you'd go in and played kind of that theme music. Again, a remix of the music. And there's just kind of 3 blocks. It was coin, 1-up if you hit them right, but if you didn't, it was just...
Yeah.
I could never be like coin, and I just get so mad.
Or you'd get the first 2 right, and then jump to hit the third one and miss it.
Yeah, and then you can't go back.
And you're like, but
fine, next one.
But it hit a point, especially once you got to the first world in the forest. And they actually, I think they pointed it out in the manual, but there was a point early on in the forest where like you could get like 50 lives
pretty much
a run. Remember there was like because there was the rotating item box, then you would just pick a star and then just run across the top of these trees, and all these turtles all these Koopa Troopas were falling on you and stuff.
So you could you could go into levels and exit out, right? So you could go in, get your 1-up and leave
and bounce. Yeah. So like
get your Yoshi again
so I never found it that hard. And then I didn't find it my first way through, and then one of my friends told me about the secret place off the first ghost house.
Yeah.
Remember where all it was a Yoshi and then power-ups?
Oh, yeah.
Remember that little level where you could just... And, like, once I found that, I remember, like, hiking... I would be down in, like, the Choco Plains, like, near the end of the game, and have to, like, hike all the way back to get a new Yoshi and get, like, a new cape just to go all the way back. Because that was the other thing, too, that I loved, was that you could store the items up top.
Yeah.
And so
it wasn't such a death sentence if you hit.
And once I figured out that you could make it fall however, like whenever you wanted, I always tried to like keep a flower and a cape, and then whatever one I was using, I always had that backup. Yeah.
For sure.
God, dude, what a fucking... I love that game.
Yeah.
There's nothing about that game I don't like. Like I want to... I have a show tonight. Like you and I are about to leave. We have plans for the evening, and I kind of want to like blow it off and just stay home and play Super Mario World now.
Yeah, no, like I remember being hungover playing that game where you just by muscle memory you could play the whole thing. It didn't take much effort.
Yeah, it is. But it's really like it's funny because like there's not a I mean there are other games, but like I can't think of very many games that like I just never get sick of.
Yeah,
you know,
like you take the new Super Mario Brothers games they've made. It's the same premise, but they just don't even hold a candle either personality-wise or
no, they don't.
And I can't.
And is that not weird? Because like you would think that like a team this talented, you're basically just handed a more powerful machine. Like you would think you could just make a sexier Super Mario World, and they're just not. Like I enjoy the new Super Mario games,
fun, but they're just not the same.
They're not the same, and I don't know if it's because Super Mario World has that nostalgia. Or if it's just like, I mean, I'm a huge fan of 16-bit graphics as a whole.
Yeah.
Like you and I have had this discussion numerous times. Like you've mentioned the idea of remaking the Final Fantasy games, and that's like to do 7 or 9 or something in that Final Fantasy 2 and 3 style art, which I think would be fucking awesome. Yeah. Like I have a soft spot for that style of art to begin with, and maybe that's part of what the charm is of that Mario World.
I think it's just back in the day, like you said, we didn't have internet. We didn't it was all word of mouth, or if you had Nintendo Power, or if you had the money to call the 900 line for help. But I think there was more self-discovery. Like you found stuff on your own, and it's like wow, like it blew your mind.
It was a real. It was
now you can go online and solve for you. And
and it sucks because like I have occasionally done that. Like if I'm looking for a coin that I'm missing or something, you know. But I pride myself even today with most games where and maybe it's from being raised like that, like you said. I'm like, no, I'll figure it out myself. Like because back then it was either you figured it out yourself or you talked to one of your friends and you were like, dude, can you figure this out? Because I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good point.
And plus, it was also, I think, speaking for myself, like you got one game a year as a kid, maybe two for like Christmas and your birthday.
Yeah.
So like I think you played games to death too, and just by virtue of that, you'd find new stuff.
I agree with that too. Yeah, and then like, and we'll wrap this one up soon so we can get one more in. This was because I never owned Zelda on the original Nintendo. I can't think. You didn't have an original Nintendo. I can't think of a game I owned as a kid before this one that had save files.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Right? So like when I got that, because this one came with the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
And that was the other thing was like you'd sit down to play like Super Mario 3, which is like if you go through the whole thing, like if you know Warp Whistle and you play the whole game, that's like a 6-7 hour like
it was the Mercy of Leaving
marathon
system on.
Yeah, which my mom would never let us do.
Shut it off or reset it.
Yeah, I used to like hide it because she would not let us leave it on. So I would leave it on and then kind of lean my controller against the front to hide the button was on. But yeah, like to have, and like, because you mentioned it right off the top, you accidentally erased someone's save file, which I think is hilarious. But like, yeah, that was always the rule, was like it came with 3 save files. So I got one, my brother got one, and then we had a spare for whatever. And like, and that was like your own little, like, journal, I guess, or something. You know what I mean? Like, and that was so cool to me that it was just like I could save it and this is mine. And then whenever one of my friends came over, you could bring it up and be like, this is everything I've done. I found this and I did this. Like, and now we take all that for granted because every game has saves.
Yeah. I just remember when you had those 20 character like passwords where
oh god,
heaven help you if you missed one character.
Yeah, or like if they had an O or a Z and you weren't sure, you wrote it down wrong or oh man. The save files, the music, the graphics. Okay, yeah, we'll wrap this thing up. We're at a half hour already. My favorite thing, like the thing that sticks out to me the most about this game is the graphics. And it's just like I have this image in my head of Mario on Yoshi with the cape, like he is on the cover, and just those bright colors. And like I'll never get that. Like that's the first thing that pops into my brain when I think about this game. Is like that first, like not even the first level you get Yoshi, but that first after you beat the first castle. And you go up to where that big pond is, remember? And then that's where you start getting capes and stuff.
Right.
And just like the idea of the Koopa Troopas like flying at you with their capes on, I just like, and I have it burned into my brain, like the bright colors, and just like it just makes me feel happy like every time I look at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like is there like, okay, so 2 questions, and this is something I'm going to start asking everybody. So is there one particular thing you think of when you think of Super Mario World?
I think it's kind of the same thing. Like it's just you go to, I guess, Yoshi Island 1, you start the game up, it's just bright colors, like all the dinosaurs are animated, all the Koopa Troopers are animated, the big bullet bill coming at you.
Yeah.
Mario, when he gets bigger, like the detail, like I don't think I'll ever see another jump from 3 to World.
No.
In the Mario series, like 3D maybe arguably, but
no,
that was the biggest like wow factor from the next game.
I agree.
So I guess I'd probably answer that one.
Okay. I agree with that. Yeah, it was. I remember looking at Super Mario World and being like it looks so real. And like now it doesn't look real at all. It looks like a cartoon, but it's still awesome. And then a second, if you were to review this game on a scale of 1 to 10, and you can use like 9.3, you can use the points. That's fine. With 10 being perfect. And there is no wrong answer. But what would you put on this game? What would you put on the original Super Mario World?
Gonna give it a 9.8.
9.8?
Like it's for all intents and purposes, it's flawless.
Agreed.
It's that little nagging thing with the free. I don't know why. It's that free stage just always bothered me. And
that's
I
fine.
mean, if you have to find fault in some of everything, I guess that'd be it. But I mean, really, I think it's the gold standard for platforming still to this day. Like, there's just no better control, no better atmosphere, no better world than that game. Like, it's something I could recommend to my fiance, to anyone who's never played before, and just be like, yo.
Yeah,
get some type of joy out of this game.
That's a really,
because it's so well made. Like
that's a really good point. Is just like it's like Mario, and in particular Mario World, is one of those games that even non-gamers you could convince them to sit down and play, and they'll probably have fun because it's got this charm to it, you know. So 9.8 from Chris, and this is the whole reason I came up with this idea. I thought of this today is because I'm going to give this game a perfect 10 because it's my favorite game ever. And now every other game I score for the rest of this podcast series, I can, like, that's my scale. That's my grading arch is 10. The fact that I'm giving it a 10 and you're giving it a 9.8, so it's averaging out to a 9.9 out of 10. You guys, I cannot imagine there's a single person listening to this podcast that has not played Super Mario World. And if you haven't, it's available everywhere. Like, it's available. I mean, obviously there's ROMs. I'm not sitting here, justifying ROMs, but there's ROMs. It's on the Super Nintendo Classic. It's on the Wii. It's on the Wii U. I think it's on the new 3DS.
I think so.
On the Virtual Console on there. You can buy the original cart. It's everywhere. There's a Game Boy Advance version, I think. Like, didn't they release it?
I think so, yeah.
I never played that one, but this game's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Because I think that's when they did, like, I remember they re-released Super Mario 2 back in the day for the Advance. And
That's
I think
right.
there was another Mario World.
Yeah, I think you're right. I would like to do one of these about Mario 2 as well, but that's a point for another day. I'm just quickly looking on eBay here, guys, and it looks like the average selling price online for Super Mario World is between $10 and $15. So if you have to shell out $10 or $15 to buy a copy of this game, this game, honestly, and maybe some people would disagree with me for how short it is. I think you'd concur, Chris. I feel like this game is worth, like, if Nintendo... Like, if it came out today as a brand new game and Nintendo was charging, like, I wouldn't pay $80 for it maybe because of the length, but, like, if it was a $40 or $50 like Captain Toad priced game, I would happily pay that to play this game. Yeah, you agree?
Yeah, no,
all right.
Yeah, it's worth every cent.
So we both agree, Super Mario World, one of the greatest video games of all time. As Chris Heber says himself, the gold standard for platformers. And he nailed it. Thanks for guinea pigging this with me, buddy.
Yeah, you bet. No, this was really fun.
And now I'm going to hit end, and then we'll record another one.
All right.
Okay. Thanks, buddy. And that does it, you guys, for episode 1 of Remember the Game, Super Mario World. Thank you so much to my buddy Chris for coming over and nerding out with me, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. I had a lot of fun. I think this is going to be a fun podcast. If you did like it, I beg you, please subscribe, and if you can leave me a good review on iTunes or wherever you found this, that would really mean a lot to me. And if there's a game you're interested in hearing about, please message me, get a hold of me, whatever. If you want to come on the show, reach out to me and let me know, and we'll see if we can find a game that works and keep this thing going. Thank you guys so much. And if you liked it, tell a friend. Let's spread the word. Let's all nerd out. We don't have to hide anymore. It's 2018. We can all be nerds together. That's it, you guys. There'll be a new episode every Wednesday. At least that's the plan. And I'm gonna go play some video games. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. All right. That was a terrible close, but whatever.